But not everyone thinks the EU should forgive a chunk of Greece's massive debt. Some 60 billion euros is owed to Berlin, one of the country's largest creditors. And now the latest poll results showing that the majority of Germans are firmly against giving the Greek economy any type of relief, though they didn't want to see the country leave the Eurozone altogether. Economist Markus Kerber says Greece should stop blackmailing the EU and actually learn to respect the Troika.
Greece, as a member of the European Union, is bound to respect contracts, treaties. Greece has only survived due to a great gesture of generosity by all the members of the Eurozone. Greece has not made any effort to reform the country, and they have just suspended any reform. And if the West does not resist the temptation of giving in, then we will be in for a round of more blackmailing from other members of the European Union. Democracies have to stand up in order to fight blackmailing policy from the very first moment on. And if that means the end of the membership of Greece within the European community, I say, okay, they can have their own way.
Well, years of austerity in Greece have taken a very heavy toll. And later in the program here, we visit a camp just outside Athens where residents living in dire conditions are pinning all their hopes on the brand new Syriza government. And cabin fever pushing young Russians out of the house and off the rooftop. We've got video of these thrill seekers coming up. Oh, that's just gotta hurt. At least be cold. We're back in just a moment. Hello again. A Russian and an American pilot have made a record-breaking hot air balloon flight all the way across the Pacific. It took them just over 6 days to cover almost 11,000 kilometers. The two pilots told us what it's like to be back on terra firma.
Welcome back to Earth, gentlemen. Good to have you with us. How does it feel to be back?
It's a wonderful feeling. We had a wonderful time together in the capsule. But to get back and to see our families and to be back on land is a great feeling, knowing that we succeeded.
I understand you started in Japan and then crossed the Pacific down to New Mexico, where you are. How did that all go?
The first day we spent over landfall for the most part, and then headed out over the Pacific. We were hoping to be coming into the United States, maybe, or Canada up north. We had a blocking high pressure system that wouldn't allow us to get through there. So we had to take another route and go further south and follow the coast of the U.S. and go down to the Baja of Mexico.
Were there any tense moments? Were there any dangers that you faced, or it was mostly smooth going?
There's tension throughout the entire flight because of what we're doing, where we're at. We definitely want to have getting to the other side, but it's 6,000 miles, which is a long way to go. So there's a constant tension in the back of your mind. What
were the highlights of the trip for you?
I believe the highlights were the friendship that we developed throughout the entire flight. It's an experience that only the two of us have shared together. We'll always have that as a memory. We worked well as a team together, and I can't imagine a better partner.
And how does it feel to break this record?
To not crash only distance record. We crash misunderstanding between people.
What do you think this says about the potential for cooperation between the nations in this case?
I think when we work together, we can achieve anything. And you have to put aside those political differences and work as people rather than governments. And we did that, and showing that anyone can work together. It doesn't matter the nationality. We bring the best talent together, and we did that in this case.
Now, the Greek people have been hit very hard by years of crippling austerity measures. RT's Maria Fanoshina visited one camp just outside the capital where residents are living without electricity and no running water for that matter. It's a situation that's only been made worse by the years of economic crisis forced upon them by Brussels.
It may look like a refugee camp somewhere in the Middle East. Too many people, too little space. little comfort. But this is Greece, and these people, Greek citizens.
We're living in 20 square meters here, 6 or 8 people sometimes. It's really cold in winter and hot in summer. The officials announced that in 20 days they will cut power because we do not pay. But we're really poor, we have nothing.
And Ramahi recalls how the camp sprung up 15 years ago after a devastating earthquake left tens of thousands homeless. It was supposed to be a temporary solution, but many of the disaster's victims have never been able to move anywhere else. And with years of crisis in Greece, the camp's population has only been growing. Pavlos and his family are among the so-called crisis residents here. A common story for a country with more than 1 million unemployed. Unable to pay rent, the family moved here 4 years ago to avoid living on the streets.
I only want to have a job and a house to live in, and I will pay government taxes and nothing else. Everyone who lives here just wants his own house and to pay for it. We can't live any longer in these conditions.
These voices are loud, but it seems they're not heard. Eva has been a volunteer here for the last 9 years.
Sometimes we feel so lonely because we ask so many to help us. But nobody opens their doors. They think that only criminals live here, but it's not so. No one cares about these people.
There is also a school here. 123 children from 7 to 12 years old attended. But teachers say they don't remember any student moving on to a higher education institution.
Many kids face problems with food, clothes and shoes. We try to help at school, but often they have nothing to eat back home either. People in general who live here in these slums many times are excluded from society because they think perhaps that they are different.
But they're just like many in the country, and their numbers are swelling as more and more victims of the crisis join the camp's abandoned population.
This camp, a modern ghetto just outside the Greek capital, is home today to more than 500 families. Some of them have been living in these tiny metal containers for more than 15 years already, every day hoping for the best. And with a new government in Athens, they're now asking, will things finally change? Marie from Greece.